started with your Aunt Jenny falling in love with Richard. No, I didn't know anything about it. She had a boyfriend back home, Theodore Gonzalez. I lived at our house every night. And I don't know how she never got married to him because he was in love with her very much. But she had her mind set on Richard. So when it did happen, I think it's 1953, she came up to get married. And that was all right. But in 1948, our government changed. Instead of it being colonial, we had this sort of an elected parliament, before it used to be a council, put in by people who had property and who were earned so much dollars a month. And it wasn't a universal franchise. It was just franchise for those people who had money, who were educated. Well, when that changed, that's when Jagan got in, because all the Indians on the coast, they voted for him. It became really strictly a racial thing. And so when Jagan got in and the communist thing started to spread, I think 1952 was an election, and they got in, and my dad, it started to affect business. And so he decided that he got a daughter over here, maybe make tracks. Because he had two properties. He had the big one we lived in and one on 4th Street, another big one. And so he left them for me to look after, and he came up. He came up in July, and Mom followed with the rest of the kids in August. He came up with Pauline and Yvonne. And then Mom came up with Claudette, Maureen, Judith, and Gabrielle. And then they were doing all right, and in '59 he went back. He went back in '59, I think he sent a machine back.
I was a little boy then.
Yeah.
I remember him coming back.
He was there for Colleen's christening. But then the riot started in 1962 in February. And they burned the whole bloody Georgetown building. J.P. Sanders was burned too. And that made me decided not to live there. Mom was even concerned about them attacking me because they looked like Indians. With the strike, the burning of Georgetown, that started out with the budget that the Jagan had brought down that the people didn't like. And so they started to parade, march through the streets. And some of the bad element take up rocks and started to break all the store windows, and then another bunch followed behind them with Molotov cocktails and stealing. They go in the broken window, take out what they want, and then throw a Molotov cocktail in. And it really started to burn. I was there. I watched my company to the last minute. I ran home. We went home because I was concerned what's going on at home. And they called me to come back and help. But Mom wouldn't let me go. She said, no, my wife wouldn't go for her. I don't think she was right because my responsibility lay at home. Anyway, they saved quite a bit of stuff because we had a fireproof vault. And they saved quite a bit of stuff. And then they started up again next day, or after the weekend. They started up at another place closer to my home, closer to where we lived in Drysdale Street. But it was awful. Tragic. And so we decided to write my dad and ask him to start to make papers, get papers for us to come home, which I did. I had to leave the property, looking after the property with my friend Noel Gonzalez. And Noel did a fairly good job, but with my father you could never satisfy him. I couldn't satisfy him. So eventually it ended up being, I took away from Noel and my uncles, Uncle Carlos and Uncle Alwyn, they look after it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that one settled out. Eventually I sold the property to Carl. I packed a case, wooden case, with all the stuff that we needed.
He left a lot of
linen,
things.
dinnerware. We did bring up a lot of stuff.
You left a lot of things.
We left it, well, we sold it off. my Blaupunkt radio, radiogram.
I remember that radio.
A lovely one. I sold that to the hack fella in front for, I think, $125 or something like that. It cost me a little over 500. Chairs, our chairs we sold. We had them made, they were made for us. So all our furniture was made. They weren't store bought. Anyway, that's all gone under the bridge. But I came up with about $3,000 I had after I cashed in everything. And we came to live with my father. But that was in September of 1962. But before that, in April of 1960, I received a 3-month vacation to come to Canada, me and Mom. The company paid my passage both ways and paid her passage one way. Came up and spent 3 months, and the first time I saw snow was on April 6th, I think it was. First time I saw snow. And we spent 3 months with them. I used to go down with Dad, my dad worked with Everett, my brother, on Beverly and Queen Street. They had a printing place there, renting a piece of property.
I think I won the lottery of life when you decided to come to Canada.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best moves I ever made. I have no regrets.